Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. We are in the Occult Adventures book today for Pathfinder. We are continuing the War Magic series. So we're going to look at two of the psionic classes spell list. And from there we are going to look at the spells and see what would be kind of a game changer if it could be applied to a large military battlefield instead of a small player skirmish, or like a normal player adventure skirmish, because player combats are more like designed that you're not outnumbered more than 2 to 1, where big battlefields, 2 armies clash. So, and if you like this, check out the rest of this play series. I break down the core rule book into individual levels for both arcane and divine up to 6th level, and I go into a lot of depth, and then I hit all the other books. I've just finally made it to the occult book. Okay, so we're going to start with the mesmerist spells, I do believe. Yep. So we're starting with 3rd level mesmerist spells, and then we'll go over the 3rd level psychic spells for the psychic class. Some of these do not overlap. And I picked these classes out of this book because the wizard, the arcane list, and the divine list is like 4 spells each, just about, for each level. So to dive into this correctly, we had to use the psionic classes. So we'll start with Analyze Aura. Read a creature or object's alignment, emotion, health, and magic auras. That could be good when you're investigating somebody that's delivering a message, or if you've captured a prisoner and you want to interrogate them. That could help you a whole lot. But outside of that, that's not going to be very useful. Port animal. Send or receive a tiny or smaller animal via teleportation. I could see making good use of this by getting creative and sending messenger animals that way. I could also see a druid turning into a small or tiny animal, and you use this on them for them to be wherever. So I can see that being another way to kind of twist that to work in your favor. But overall, that's not going to help you too much. Not unless you can pick an animal that would be very ferocious or very disruptive. Teleport a skunk into the enemy's stronghold. I can see that causing some trouble. Aura alteration. Mask a creature or an object's alignment, emotion, health, and magic auras. If you're worried about the Analyze Aura spell, that could be useful. You could also put that on items, amulets, rings. Usually amulets is cheaper. And if it's not a one-use item or a once per day or once per week item, if it's continual, that's going to be more expensive. And in addition to that, though, the person wearing it would be under the effect of that. Mindscape door. Create a portal allowing entry to and exit from a mindscape. As far as I know, I don't know a lot about the mindscape, so I don't think that's going to be too useful as a war thing. Node of blasting. Place a trap on an object to mentally damage a creature that touches it. That'd be useful. It's a trap effect, so that'd be very useful. Object possession, lesser. Project your soul into an object, animating it. Don't think that would be as useful. Greater honorific core. This does strength damage in addition to what the other one did. The other one distracts and fatigues targets with a creature from its nightmares. So with a creature from its nightmares, it does that, and it does strength damage. Synaptic pulse. Stun creatures in a 30-foot radius. That's useful. Put that on a piece of ammunition, or even just a flask or a glass bead, and have them throw that at the enemy. When it hits, it would have that 30-foot radius of stunning. I can see that being very useful to start to give you an upper hand into armies clashing. Same with the greater oniric horror, especially if that was put on one-use items, because as I remember, that was a single target spell. So put that on some sling bullets and have your rows further back than the first 2 rows of your shield wall. Use the slings to launch these into the enemy. Synaptic pulse. Stun creatures in a 30-foot radius. That's one I just did. Synaptic scramble. Prevent the target from communicating and causing it to act randomly. I could see that being useful too, because that would help you sow chaos. So put that on ammunition and launch that into the enemy. Synethia. Target moves at half speed and takes penalties and has trouble casting spells. If you could get your enemy spellcasters that are active on the battlefield exposed to that, that'd be great. I think that's a single target though, so you'd have to put that on like one-use ammunitions, possibly. So that ends that Mesmerist level 3. So let's turn over to the psychic spell list. So analyze aura, a poured animal. Babble, target becomes nauseated and causes nearby creatures to become fascinated. Put that on some one-use items and hit some of your enemy with that, and that can be interesting. And that can definitely give you an advantage. Catatonia, make a willing target appear to be dead. That's great if you're trying to smuggle in the body of such and such, which is one of the players probably. Just to be able to act from inside the enemy encampment and whatnot. Cognitive block, add a thought component to all the target's spells. That can be useful because that adds an extra thing to the casting, so they now have to lengthen their casting time to be able to cast something. So if you could put that on some one-use items and say cognitive block lasts a minute, even a minute's 10 rounds where they have to, instead of casting as either a free action or standard action, it now becomes a full round action. That's going to slow down some of the spells coming at you. Contagious Zeal, grant bonus and temporary hit points that spread from the creature to creature. I can see that being useful in your own army. Ectoplasmic Snare. Tendril of ectoplasm grapples a creature and tethers you to it. That'd be great if you were trying to single out a target. Ego Whip. Causes a creature to take a -2 penalty to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma and be staggered for 1 round. That one's not going to be as useful. Emotive block. Add an emotion component to all of your target spells. Id Insinuation 2 as Id Insinuation 1, but affects 2 creatures and has stronger confusion effects. So that's going to be useful. Mental Barrier 2 as Mental Barrier, but +6 to AC. Mind Thrust 3 as Mind Thrust 2, but deal a maximum of 10d8 points of damage. So put some Mind Thrust on some ammunition and launch that at the enemies. That arrow no longer does a d6, now it does at 3rd level you would be 5th level. So it'd do 5d8, so it'd do 1d6 plus 5d8 or 1d8 plus 5d8. hit an enemy with that. If you can connect, most of the military is going to have somewhere between 1 to 5 hit dice, the average being 3. So that's going to take somebody out when they get hit. Mindscape Door creates a portal allowing entry and exit from the Mindscape. Node of Blasting places a trap on object mentally damaged creature that touches it. Object Possession Lesser. Purge Spirit. Deal 1d6 points of damage per level to one haunt or spirit creature and stagger it. Synaptic Pulse. Synthesia. Telekinetic Maneuver. Perform a telekinetic combat maneuver. Thought Shield 2. So that's all the spells for 3rd level out of the psionic spell list. There's not as many, but psionics doesn't seem to be built more for combat in that way. So it is as it is. We still have 3 more levels of spells in this book that we'll be covering in the future. Because level 4, 5, and 6 will be the final level, because most spells that I have deemed, most spellcasters that are higher than 6 level spells have no issue handling armies almost by themselves. So, especially when you get spells like Meteor Swarm, or there's a few others, but Meteor Swarm always stands out to me. So, well, hope you enjoyed this. Check out my other War Magic videos if you like this one. Until we all meet again, guys.